happy for the Canadians also, because they also realize that end of the day, you don't need the Canadian papoose like Justin Trudeau's, who really took their country down south. And now, with the way things are panning out, with the way America's on top of them trying to annex them, they'll probably realize how important it is to have India on the right side for not 1, 2, 3, or maybe 100 reasons beneath.
All right. Let me also open Mr. Kamaljeet Singh. Mr. Singh, well, it's a moment to, in fact, recalibrate India-Canada relations. But at the same time, Canada needs to understand that, they've been listening to the wrong people. And because of this focus towards these toxic voices, a relationship like India and Canada has been tarnished for long.
First of all, Vineet, congratulations to Mark Carney for the emphatic win in Canada elections. This is the win of democracy, and it has vindicated stand of India that people across the globe, they are for unity, and they are for for the countries, for the countryhood, for their patriotism. Now, look at Jagmeet. What has happened to Jagmeet? Jagmeet have been always propagating this idea, which is non-existent, by the way, of Khalistan. Being a Sikh myself, I know that the Khalistan word is non-existent in the whole of globe. When India, the people Sikh diaspora in India, then Sikhs living in India, they are happy. They are the most happiest people, and minorities, in fact, they are the happiest people in India. There is Modi Sahab, our Prime Minister. He is the most vocal supporter of Sikhism. First thing first he does, whenever there is a Gurpurab, he first goes and bow his head in front of Guru Granth Sahib. Then, in 75 years of our independence, first time it happened that we opened Kartarpur Sahib Langa. Then 400th Matadam of Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib was celebrated at the same place where Guru Tegh Bahadur was martyred. Then 550th birth celebrations of Guru Nanak Dev Ji was celebrated in such a grand, big way. I tell you, the Sikhs all over, they are very, very happy, whether in India and across. But the lust for money, these people who are the, let us say, SFJ Pannu or Jagmeet or whosoever they are, they want to just, make sure that these people are, corrupted. These people, they try to change their mind towards a different ideology which is non-existent. I believe today is the day when Canadians, they have voted against hatred, they have voted against violence, they have voted against vandalism of our Hindu temples and Sikh Gurdwaras, they have voted against Khalistan, they have voted out this guy, and I'm sure he'll not be there in the picture anymore, and in India also, and this message will go to UK as well as in US, and I'm sure the US will take control of this guy SFJ Pannu, who is trying to make money out of our emotions. He tries to blackmail us. He tries to make sure that sometimes you might have thought, in Aam Aadmi Party's election, he tried to make sure that he's funded the radicals. And while funding the radicals, he is forgotten that, this Modi only who made the perpetrators of terrorism in 1984 behind bars. Sajjan Kumar is behind bars. Jagdish Titor is behind bars. The justice for Sikh genocide was delivered by Narendra Modi. And the Sikh world over, they're happy now. Whenever I visit Canada, whenever I go there and I visit our embassy and our diaspora there, they always feel that these kind of few people across the globe, they are tarnishing our image, and the people across, they look at us like terrorists, which was happening earlier. Now, after Modi ji has taken over, these things are things of past, and I'm sure from today onwards, there is a message which is very loudly and clearly written on the wall that Sikhs, this world called Khalistan or radicalism will be wiped out once for all.
All right, Mr. Ramneek Singh Man, I hope you can hear me.
Yeah.
Well, you've been on my show in the past as well, so then we have continuously tried to analyze what exactly was the problem here. There were some bad apples, and now it seems that they've been thrown out of the basket. Is this a new beginning, not only for India but for Canada as well, when it comes to dealing with a country like India, which the Americans also hail as one of its very few and close strategic partners?
Yeah. Okay. So first things first is that the good news is that the Jagmeet Singhs of the world have lost the election. But the Pierre Poliver also has lost elections because he was not able to respond swiftly and efficiently to the Trump provocations. Third is, I would take this with a bit of caution, is because, Mark Carney is yet to set up his cabinet. And there are 22 probables. Let's see who he picks and who he brings in his cabinet. So that is 2. 3. I believe very firmly is that a lot of source of funding, a lot of audience from the Gurdwaras and public for campaigning and political donations come from the Sikh diaspora, the Punjabi diaspora in Canada. So which way does the general diaspora shifts its thought would really depend on what takes shape forward, because political funding in these countries is very important. I'll give an example. Whenever a political party raises a dinner for fundraising, if they approach somebody, it's like $150 or $200 per seat, and there's a 10-seat table. So when you approach somebody from the Punjabi community, the Sikh community, they would offer and buy the entire event, not a table, not a chair. So there are influences. There are, I would say that we have to see all of this with some caution, and we should have a long-term strategy as India, as a nation, to counter the brainwashing of entire generation of Sikhs living in Canada. Well, it was very clearly illustrated by Mr. Soi, and I have been also a vocal supporter of the policies of the Honorable Prime Minister of India when it comes to the Sikhs. Whether it was delisting the blacklisted Sikhs, whether it was the 550th anniversary of Guru Nanak Sahib, or 350 Sala of Guru Gobind Sahib, 400 Sala of Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib, the Kartarpur Sahib corridor, the Hemkund Sahib ropeway. There have been, several initiatives which were unprecedented. But then again, winning over the Sikh sentiment, you would need a lot of right-minded Sikh leadership from within the society. And you can't depend on imported leaders from other parties. So that is where I believe a strong messaging needs to come from the BJP so as to counter these elements overseas. That is number 4. Number 5, we need to have very consistent foreign policy when it comes to Sikhs living overseas, and a resonance of thought, a positive thought, has to come from the Sikhs living within India, because the community globally is very, very deeply connected. So somebody living in Canada, a Sikh living in Canada, would have relations in Punjab and Delhi or elsewhere. And similarly, people living here would have relations, in the US or in Canada or other parts of the world. So there has to be a resonating effect both from inside out and outside in. So I think that has to be taken into account. And for the Canadian elections, I believe the democracy there is one. And as a democratic country, from one to other, we would want to congratulate the Prime Minister Mark Carney on winning, but with a word of caution, that is the same Liberal Party who, with the support of the NDP, had created this menace which never existed. So Carney has to be very careful while picking his cabinet, and we have to keep a very close eye on what he does.
That's a good point, actually. Monica, we have to keep a very close eye. The leaders may have changed. The popularity of Justin Trudeau and Jagmeet Singh may have declined, but it's still the Liberal Party that's running Canada at this point in time. So India obviously cannot expect miracles.
Of course, Vineet, I totally agree with you here because, while everyone before me was speaking, I was just wondering that it is quite a welcome change in the Canadian political scene that someone who was an appeaser of the Khalistanis, someone like Trudeau has lost elections, he couldn't become the Prime Minister. And I'm also happy that, this person, Jagmeet Singh, who is very, he's considered very close to the Khalistani section of the Sikhs in Canada. I think that's also a welcome change. But what I'm really worried about is that, one thing that we cannot deny is no matter political hands may have changed and people who were appeasing Khalistanis before or people who were responsible for the strained India-Canada ties are not in power now. But ultimately, the Western countries have tasted blood. They have understood that, if on one hand they had the Islamist card to keep India, especially the India's national interest, always blackmailed. Now they know they have got another tool in their hand, and which are the Khalistanis. I know gentleman before me, he was speaking a very, very, fine thing that Sikhs, especially the ones that I know and I've been aware about them, the kind of patriotism. India is really lucky to have such diversity and all of that. But the sad thing is that there is a section which has been politicized, there is a section which has been radicalized. And now, not just Canada, so many other Western countries, we all have seen how when India took a very, anti-West position during the Ukraine-Russia war, it did not take them much time to use the Khalistani card against India. We all saw how, Trudeau made this whole, drama about him finding unknown gunmen in Canada who are on this killing spree, and they are killing legit Canadian citizens and stuff like that. And we've also seen how Gurpatwant Singh Pannu is someone who's always, being shown as a very respectable American citizen, someone whose life is under threat because of unknown Indian gunmen. And all of that has turned out to be nothing but hogwash. All of that has turned out to be something which has no concrete basis at all. But then ultimately, we all know how global games are played. We may think that US is our ally. It definitely is. We also think that, Canada, for example, is a democracy. So we need to have that kind of affinity with them. But ultimately, when it comes to these big political games, I do not think, even in the long term, they are going to be shy of using this card. So like the previous panelist was also speaking about this, that there are multiple ways in which the current ruling party can make a difference. We can use the carrot and stick policy. Those members of diaspora who still, consider India as their birthplace or, kind of value Indian model of diversity are always welcome. And I'm really glad that, our Sikh diaspora, entire world, they are making such big name for themselves. Some of them I know personally, and I'm really proud of them. But then at the same time, there are certain people who are always using this non-existent Khalistani issue, which is nothing but we all know it's just a ploy by China and Pakistan together and other Western countries who have joined against India. So I think it's high time that the people who are still going by this dissociate themselves from the Khalistani cause and let people like Gurpatwant Singh Pannu or even someone like Jagmeet Singh, who has enjoyed so much of political capital in Canada, be treated like isolated cases. I think it's a good start, and it's a much welcome change in Canadian political scene that someone who was using his appeal amongst the Khalistanis was also getting political power, was also getting a share in dictating the terms. But this card, this veto, this Khalistani veto that was there on India-Canadian ties is now away. And I hope Canada does some soul searching, and the new Prime Minister, Mr. Carney, he comes in power and he takes stock of all what can happen between India and Canada. There's a lot that can happen. There's trade. There is, I think, a lot of cooperation they can do in Indo-Pacific as well. But all of that has not taken place till now because of the Khalistan card. So I think I totally welcome this, Vineet. But like I said at the outset, I do agree with you that it's not the end of the Khalistani card as far as India's ties with West are concerned.
Okay, all right. Mr. Lali, in fact, Justin Trudeau had political compulsions also, right, to stick to the Khalistani cause. Does this new leadership have that burden?
Vineet, I have always been from the school of positivity, and I think Mr. Ramneek made some very valid points that, the party ain't over yet. And yes, finances play a big role. But beneath keeping my optimism, Mark Carney is a banker. He's not a career politician. And being a banker, he probably understands the importance of not being on the right side of China and India. Because, pretty much if you're not dealing with China or India in this world, I mean, you're missing out on 3/4 of the global, transactions. And now, with America also literally pouncing on them, I have a feeling that given the fact that he's not a career politician, he's been a banker, and once he understands the importance of how he has to take Canada back north, but yes, how he chooses his cabinet is going to play a big role. But we need one more thing. Jagmeet Singh even lost his seat, so that itself ought to play out well because his party has lost the national status. He's lost his own seat. America's down Canadian throat. Mark Carney is a banker. So my assumption is that better sense has to prevail because I don't think Canada can go any deeper also because given the housing crisis and the drug problem and the immigration problem and the way, China was operating with all impunity, controlling, making police stations and Pakistan ISI going and cleaning the likes of Balochis, Karima Baloch is there. So I have a feeling that I don't think that it can go any south. Yes, as Ramniti rightly said, that Sikhs are very well connected and are very emotional people. So obviously a healing touch would be required for the Sikh community because a lot of Sikhs who are talking against India, which I personally met, have actually never even been to India. They were their second or third generations, and some of them were definitely, they suffered and paid a very big price when Punjab was being cleaned out by the Congress government. So obviously it's going to be a lot more than just a change of guard, but Vineet, well begun is half done. Thank you.
Well begun is half done. Mr. Kamaljeet, do you concur with Mr. Lali that, at least there is a hope of a revival now? And considering the fact that, the Indian diaspora is so prominent in Canada, it best serves both the nations to get along.
Beneath, now the question is the Sikhs have to start thinking for its own homeland, that is Punjab. The Sikhism started from Punjab, Khalsa started from Punjab, and Khalsa has to establish as to work for saving Punjab, Punjabi and Punjabiyat. Wheresoever Khalsa lives. Now, we have a strong Prime Minister. Now, I agree with Lali with few points and few not. We do not have a weak Prime Minister in India. We have a strong Prime Minister. We are going to be the 5th largest economy in maybe couple of months. We are touching 5 trillion economy. Now, India is no longer looking at West or South or anywhere for any help. We can defend our borders. It is India only and the Prime Minister Modi which did Balakot, which did surgical strikes, and maybe in a couple of days you will see some more action happening. So we are stronger than ever in the last 75 years. And the Sikhs are the integral part of our country. The Guru Nanak Naam Lewa Sangat is about 12 crores in the whole of globe. And I'm sure every Sikh belongs to Punjab, every Sikh belongs to India, and whosoever these people, this illiterate, this terrorists like SFJ, when we can bring Munawar Rana, and the day is not far when we will have this guy, this Pannu also coming in the handcuffs and will be treated in India the way we should treat him. Anybody, I'm telling you on your channel, anybody speak ill of India, anybody vomiting hatred against India will not be spared. And believe you me, none of the Sikhs by their heart was ever Khalistani, will ever be Khalistani, and can ever be Khalistani, and can be motivated in that kind of a movement. What have we gained out of it? 50,000 people were killed during terrorism time. And out of 50,000, about 40,000 were Sikhs. And world over, our image was so distorted. I faced myself whenever we used to fly abroad in the US or even in Canada, Australia, we were, frisked like anything. Now that things have changed. people, they have started looking at us with more respect. Our homeland is India and our homeland is Hindustan and will ever stay there. We have our Panch Takhats and all the Takhats are in India, and I'm sure all of us, all the Sikhs world over, they want that India should be stronger than ever before. This kind of movements which collapsed today in Canada will collapse, will die in UK and will die in US as well. And you will see the Sikhs are prospering world over, and Sikhs will contribute for the growth of our own nation, which is India. Thank you.
All right. Well, with that, we've come to the end of the show, but appreciate everybody who joined us and weighed in into this important update that has transpired in Canada. Hopefully, things will change for the better between India and Canada. We'll be right back.
अगर आप बनना चाहते हैं एंकर या फिर आप में है जुनून एक तेज तर्रार न्यूज रिपोर्टर बनने का, तो आप ज्वाइन करें ITV और इंडिया NewsX का मीडिया स्कूल। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का कोर्स आपको मौका देता है देश के दिग्गज एंकर्स के साथ काम करने का। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल में आप बेहद नजदीकी से देख पाएंगे किस तरह से ITV नेटवर्क के दिग्गज पत्रकारों की टीम दिन रात खबरों पर काम करती है। इस कोर्स के दौरान आप सीखेंगे एंकरिंग की एक एक बारीकी उन एंकर्स के साथ जो देश को रखते हैं हर खबर से बाखबर। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का ये कोर्स आपके एंकरिंग स्किल्स को करेगा इतना सशक्त, मजबूत, जिससे आप बनेंगे पत्रकारिता की दुनिया का वो चमकता चेहरा जो दुनिया देखेगी और पसंद करेगी।
Welcome back. You're watching NewsX. I'm Rishabh Gulati. We're absorbing developments that are happening all over the world for obvious reasons, because we live in difficult times. We don't know what's going to happen. We can only assume that serious things are taking place and some serious things are yet to take place. So how does the situation shape up? While we've been talking about what Naresh Tikait and Rakesh Tikait are doing back here and how they want to make headlines in Pakistan, well, they've been successful. Good job on them. They are Pakistani heroes tonight. Well done, sirs. We've been discussing how Lakshmi Mittal is also a Pakistani hero for the past one day. Well done, sir. I'm sure that Pakistan's steel market will be your future and your company's future. So we wish him the best as well. Now let's come back to what has been thus far a very studied silence from the Chinese. So the Chinese have come and now taken a position, and the public position is don't go by what they put on Chinese media. I mean, you can reflect on where that comes from. This is the public position. Okay, China supports Pakistan in safeguarding its sovereignty and security interests. Fair enough. They've also come and said that they support a neutral investigation into what happened in Pahalgam. Now, having lived in a country that decided, for intents and purposes best known to the people who made the decision, I wasn't privy to it, but I did observe it, that the investigation of 2611 should be done by the Pakistanis. So, you know what? Let's invite them to India to conduct an investigation, because that won't be a foolhardy charade, that will be genius diplomacy. Well, we made that error. So according to the Chinese, we should invite some third party like a Norway or Sweden or something to come and do an investigation in Pahalgam, introduce them to all our intelligence assets so that they can, I mean, it's balderdash insane. It's like the Americans saying in 9/11, you know what, we need a neutral investigation. So we need to get some European third party to come and investigate through the rubble of the Twin Towers. Can you imagine that? No, you can't imagine for a second, right? That's how insane this is. But there is a larger question regarding China. Let's ask and address this. Ambassador Suresh Kumar Goyal is with us. General Mathur joining us, Vijay Kranti joining us, and Patikrit with us. Ambassador Goyal, let me come to you because, a statement is a statement. All right, they support the sovereignty of Pakistan, good for them. But beyond a statement, how far do you think the Chinese are going to bend over backwards, sir?
Uh, Difficult question, Rishabh. When you say how far are the Chinese going to bend over their backwards, in what conditions? There are two or three situations that we need to talk about. One is the coercive diplomacy that we have begun to use the steps in terms of putting the IWT in abeyance by asking the Pakistani citizen, visa holders or Pakistani passport holders to go back to their country. We have taken certain steps. Are we saying that they will bend over backwards to really see that India reneges on those steps? What kind of a thing? The only situation where the Chinese role is going to be very important from my point of view is if there is a war or if there is an armed retaliation from India to Pakistan. About what action will China take or what stand would China take in that condition? It's a very difficult question to answer, but I would like to really speak from 2 points of view here. Number one, I think as you have rightly stated, if China asks or China supports Pakistani's suggestion or request for an independent, impartial, blah, blah, blah investigation in the case, I think we should also ask for an international investigation in the case of Uyghurs, in the case of what they are doing to the Tibetans in Tibet. There are so many cases where we can actually ask for independent investigation. What is happening to their actions in South China Seas? Despite the decision given by the ICJ to the contrary, they continue to act completely differently. So we should ask for international investigations in those things. So that's a point of really the diplomatic kind of retaliation, attack, etc., etc. And that will go on. See, the point really here is that China cannot abandon Pakistan internationally or on the international front for the simple reason that they are heavily invested in Pakistan economically. And they need to protect their assets, right or wrong or whatever it is, but they need to. And therefore, they will continue to do so. But when it comes to the crunch, what will they do? While it's a difficult situation, and I would be very, very loath to hedge any guess in these matters.
Yeah.
But my own personal feeling completely, not even an assessment, my own personal feeling is that if they look at the whole balance sheet of supporting Pakistan, in case of those contingencies, they will find that this is going to be actually a losing balance sheet in that case. They will lose much more in terms of their own gains from such a situation than what actually they might gain. And there are reasons for this really.
Okay.
Pakistan is economically a basket case. Pakistan internationally also is not really something that people stand up to or the countries stand up to. So China supporting Pakistan in case of an international action, just for the heck of it, will need to think twice or will think twice.
So the question then is what is support? Because there are two things, because Pakistan has lost every war it's ever fought. Okay. Basket case is a polite way of saying it. So they're in trouble. Now the two things that they always throw in your face whenever they are cornered: nuclear, bum, atomic bum. Okay. Number two is two-front war. That we are not alone. Big border, India-China border. The Chinese will come and support us. Okay. They didn't in 65. They didn't in 71. But that was a different China. 65, 71 was a different China. So I don't assume that the same is going to happen this time. So let me get General Mathur in and ask the straight questions. General Mathur, would China go to war to defend Pakistan?
Rishabh, straight question and a very straight answer, no. I'll tell you what, China's war fighting philosophy is that they want to win a war without fighting. Here is a nation which does not want to fight a war for itself. How will it fight a war for Pakistan? See, I will tell you one thing. China will continue to support Pakistan because China needs Pakistan for its own interests. China's interest is not Pakistan. China's interest is her own interests in Pakistan. That is one thing very, very clear. China is nobody's friend. It is full and final. So the point is, to my mind, as I look at it, they have never, as Mr. Goyal has said, they have never supported, come in favor of Pakistan. And most importantly, they did not even do anything in 1999 when China was quite similar to what it is today. So the fact of the matter is that they may continue to help them materially, some helicopters, some aircraft, some bombs, some missiles, and this, that, and the other. But a physical intervention or physical action,
okay,
unlikely.
So let's boil it down. Okay, I'm going to stay with you, sir. I want to boil it down one by one. Okay.
Bishop, one more second.
Please finish.
Bishop, one more second, please, if you allow. So the second thing is that in today's circumstances, China cannot be an enemy to India. It is going to be detrimental to her own interests globally. So, my mind, no direct help or assistance to China.
Okay, so in the global context, let me situate it. The global context is that after what happened in Galwan, okay, this current India-China situation is much improved. Okay. We are in a rapprochement spree